We're gonna. Greetings, welcome to another We Thrive at Life chat. And today we have with us my sweet friend, Dr. Michele Nelson. Michele is a powerhouse in women's health in anti-aging and performance. As a naturopath and lymphatic specialist, she's on a mission to bring ancient wisdom and modern science together, which I love. She teaches people how to optimize their lymphatic flow, unlock radiant skin, and age powerfully without chaos and just flow. Michele is the founder of Vivexia Lux, a luxury anti-aging skincare line and a leading educator on lymphatic health. And she blends her background in natural medicine with her passion for bodybuilding. I love your pictures.
Thank you.
It's like an aspiration. I don't know if I'm going to make it there, but even if I get there halfway, I think I'd be happy. Um, and so she has a passion for bodybuilding and performance, showing that health and beauty are deeply interconnected. And I agree with that. I think it's like a part of the whole person. And you don't have to be a model to be beautiful, right?
No. No. Actually, I think a lot of us are so much more beautiful than what we see the models on the screens,
Yeah.
honestly.
It comes from that peace and that health from the inside, because if you don't do the inside work, the outside work is going to fade away, Um, so
Agreed.
Yeah, so I'm so excited to hear from you today and to glean from the knowledge that you have. I mean, we're coming up on Cancer Awareness Month, and so having had that as part of my life story, I would love to get your thoughts and your tips about how to have a healthy lymphatic system so that we don't have disease and that we're well physically, spiritually, and emotionally. And so I'm just going to let you take it away and ask some questions in between.
Well, thank you so much for having me on here. I was so excited when you reached out because I love your passion for helping women and just, the education that you want to bring to the world. I think it's just beautiful. So thank you again for having me. And then it just happens it's at the perfect time of the year because as you said, October is coming up. That's when we have the whole, breast cancer awareness, all the, the pink ribbons and everything. But I have completely renamed it. I call it Breast Health Awareness Month.
I love that because
Good.
I don't know if you know my story about how We Thrive at Life started, but after the year, my surgery, double mastectomy, was in December, the beginning of December. And when the following year rolled around and it was October, I kept hearing, survivor, survivor, and it grated on me, right? And I was like, Lord, why is this word just. And then I heard John 10:10, and gently the Lord said to me, because I called you to thrive, not to survive. And so I like to call it awareness. I don't like it to, it's survivor. Yes, we survived, but let's not just survive. Let's not be on cruise control. Let's intentionally thrive. And I just want to bring your knowledge to people so that they have the tips and knowledge that they need so that they can be intentional about their thriving through. So,
I love what you just said because I was listening to someone this morning on like a YouTube podcast. I like to, indulge my brain first thing in the morning with goodness, good thoughts, good things. And they said that we need to rewire our brains not for survival,
mhm.
but for expansion. And I was like, oh my goodness, that's exactly like what does the Lord say in the scripture? We got to think on these good things. And what we speak, we declare, we create, and all of that works together. So talking about the lymphatic system, it's been in the medical community up until just very recently, it's been kind of like this taboo thing, like, oh no, your lymph nodes, oh no, your lymphatic system. But your lymphatic system is basically your immune system. It's a wonderful part of your body. It's the largest part of your circulatory system. You have 5 to 7 liters of lymphatic fluid running through your body versus 3 to 5 liters of blood. Wouldn't you think that we would look and acknowledge the lymphatic system even more so than just, hey, go have a blood test? Or when you think of your circulatory system, people don't think of the lymphatic system as being that largest part. They think of the heart and the blood, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, and the way that God made us is it's so amazing how he has created human beings, because our blood has that pump, it has that heart. And that heart, we know it pumps and it pumps, but your lymphatic system, mind you, the biggest part of this whole system, does not have a pump. So how does it move? How does it flow? How does it do what it's supposed to do? How does it work as your immune system? Do you know any of this stuff? So see, that's where it's like, oh my goodness, like we should get this out to the public because it's not taboo anymore. This is no, it's never been taboo. Um, I'm going to digress for just 1 second, because the Lord, he illuminated something to me in the scriptures a while back, and it was one of the most beautiful revelations that I have ever seen. We know that when Jesus is on the cross and when he dies, they want to make sure he's dead, right? So the soldier comes and he takes the spear and he stabs him. And then what comes out? It says
Blood and
blood and water. Your lymphatic system is your water of life that runs through your body. He was talking about your lymphatic system, your river of life, before it was ever coined the lymphatic system. That's what came out of Jesus. It was his life, it was his blood and his water that came out.
lightning like from the top of my head out of my feet right now. I'm like shuddering.
Isn't
That
that like the coolest thing?
yes. Praise the Lord. Wow.
So
What
I
a
was like, whoa, this is
wow.
so cool.
Wow. Wow.
So I think when he's talking about the water and the blood, we should probably pay attention to the water in our bodies.
I don't believe that there's one word in the word that's not supposed to be there. I really, it's just like there is a reason for every single word that's in there, you know? Oh, please continue. I'll just be back here correcting myself.
I thought it was so wonderful. And then so our lymphatic system, it is our I love to say that it's our river of life. It's the thing that flows through us. It's what gets rid of the garbage. We'll just say it that way. It's very simple. It gets rid of the garbage. Now, let's go back to it doesn't have a pump. So how does it pump?
Mm,
It moves, it does its job through breathing
mm.
and movement.
Oh, I remember that one time that you and Roddy were doing those little quick lives and you taught us how to breathe in. That was like, I try to do that every night before I go to bed. Can you share that with people? I think,
Absolutely. Because it's belly breathing. So let's look at it this way. We have two well, let's just call them states. Two states in the body. We have our sympathetic state, that's our fight flight, right?
Mhm.
That's where everybody's kind of hanging out most of the time. They're in that fight flight state. So we want to bring things into a balance. God called us to bring things into a balance. And so that's where your parasympathetic state comes in. So your parasympathetic state is your rest and digest. That's what happens when we properly breathe, which in turn moves and pumps the lymphatic system. Okay. Most people breathe from their upper chest. Like I said, we're all up here in that fight flight. I mean, you'll see them. Now you guys you're going to notice this now. It's like your reticular activating system is going to be flipped on. You're going to be at the store and you're going to see someone and they're going to be going while they're walking through the aisles, and they're in constant fight and flight. And that's so, I mean, you can just chat GPT it. It's
Mm.
not it's not great long term. Now, it's good if we're being chased by a lion. Absolutely. We're going to pop it in gear and it's going to get us to where we need to go. When we're in that sympathetic state, that fight flight, our digestive system turns off.
Ooh.
All of this turns
Uh-huh.
off because it has to power that sympathetic state, because the body doesn't know that we live in 2025 and we're not being chased by bears and lions now. So we want to bring it back. We got to learn how to breathe again. Let's get that back into a balance where we have a good balance of parasympathetic and sympathetic going on, where when we need it, we've got it. But then a lot of people, they're up here in sympathetic, and then they start going through the drive-through and they're eating and eating and eating all this food because they're in a rush to get to work, or they can't like shut down, and their digestive system is going, hello, I can't handle this. I don't know what you're doing to me.
Mm.
Now, over a long period of time,
Is it safe to say that if you're in that mode that you won't digest as well and it's not as good for your system, right?
correct,
You
correct.
like that?
That's it.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm. Because it's not turned on. All
Yeah.
the power, all the fire from the digestive system is going up here to be like, I've got to like keep her safe from the tiger. But
Yeah.
no.
I
Um,
remember when you just brought up a memory for me when I was young. My dad used to drive a truck, so he would be gone like 4 or 5 days out of the week. And I remember my mom used to say to me, don't talk about anything. Don't upset your dad, because we were like, we couldn't wait for him to get home, share whatever, or, guess what my brother did to me. But it was always like
yes,
protected that eating time for him where we weren't allowed to bring up anything that was upsetting so that he could eat peacefully and just kind of digest. And the Italians are all about having several meals to kind of slowly introduce food, and it goes in order and it helps you to digest. So you just brought that back up to me. So it's not good to eat upset.
your mom was a smart lady, smart lady. That's why we say it's not good to eat while you're watching TV.
Mm,
Because you've got all these images like or movies blowing up things or whatever,
yeah.
high stress situations. And so it's good to actually just sit and have your food and breathe and just eat your food and let it digest. Um, so yes, mom was a smart lady. Italians. So then we get back to the breathing. Like I said, we have this, most everybody that you'll see, they have this upper chest breathing. Well, that's not going to pump anything other
Mm,
than your sympathetic state. Now, to get into parasympathetic, to rest and digest, we want to belly breathe. So when we breathe in, I do this morning and evening. And just a side note, if you wake up in the middle of the night and you can't go to sleep, belly breathe. It will bring you back into present and it'll help you fall back asleep. So we want to, if you can imagine a little baby. I just became a new grandma here recently.
What's your
My little baby. And you can imagine a baby sleeping and they're breathing. Well, their belly's moving up and down, isn't it?
Yes.
That's how a baby breathes. God created us to breathe in this fashion. Okay. When we want to breathe in, when we want to activate our parasympathetic, get our lymphatic system moving, we breathe in through our nose. Now, there's several different techniques. This is just one of several. There's several different techniques. Okay, breathe in through your nose and let your belly expand. And it's really nice to relearn this when you're lying on a floor. Put a heavy, heavy book on your belly. And when you breathe in, see how high you can get the book. We used to do this in music school because I graduated my bachelor's degree in as a professional musician. And this is one of the techniques that they would teach us to do. The
Mhm.
breath is very important for musicians.
Because I played the clarinet, and you
Oh,
had to have that breath,
mm-hmm.
like almost as a reserve too, to blow out and get your notes, right?
Exactly. And what does the Bible say about breath? How many scriptures? There's like
Yeah.
350 something scriptures just on breath.
Right.
So breath is important.
Yes.
And so if you don't think you're breathing correctly, then just lie on a floor, put a large book on your belly, breathe in through your nose. Breathing in through your nose is going to help also to create nitric oxide, and it's
Mhm.
going to help you get into that state of parasympathetic rest and digest faster. Because mouth breathing, God
Mhm.
gave us these little bitty hairs in our nose to help filter.
Filter. Yes.
So we breathe in through our nose, the belly goes up, and we breathe out through our nose, and that belly goes back in.
Mm.
So just think of a baby. If you forget, just think of how a baby breathes in and out its nose, and its little belly's going up and down and up and down. So 5 breaths in the morning, nice deep breaths in, very slow, nice deep breaths out. And then at night when you're falling asleep, because in the morning, it's going to help engage the system.
Mhm.
And at night, it's going to help you wind down.
So, um, when I was taking aerobics, they taught us breathing in through the nose and then out through the mouth. So you're saying, if I'm heard you correctly, you're just using the nostrils to breathe in and out, not the mouth.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. For this particular thing.
Okay. Yes.
Yes. Now, when I have taught breathing, I'm also going to teach you guys something that you'll notice. You get your reticular activating system on this one too. When you have a group of people and you say, I want you to just breathe in. So everybody breathes out. And then you say, I want you to breathe out through your mouth. And they'll go, what happens to their mouth?
All it goes, but it also is just the air that's in the mouth. It's not any air that's in here, right?
And yes, exactly. And that tells me they're holding on to something that they don't want to let go of
Oh,
because they're going, I don't want to let go. But when you breathe out your mouth, you go,
Mhm.
now I can let go. So
Mm.
when you're in one of those situations and you just got to breathe, just like, okay, I just have to breathe because things are getting a little out of control. Breathe in
Yes.
and
Yeah.
just let it out
Wow.
without taking on control because it's not out. We don't need to take control of so many situations that we try to hold on to. We just need to let him take control of it. And
Yeah.
by and not that's
Yeah.
one simple itty bitty tiny little way that we can let him take the control of it.
I love that. I love that. Because we do hang on to things. Wow. I
Mm-hmm.
this is gonna probably not even be, I don't know. It's just coming to my mind, so I want to share it. Um, I have was okay, issues with nerves in my leg. And I live in a very warm area. And one day I just felt something on my foot. And I thought it was just my nerves because it was like this little wiggle. I looked down and it is not my nerves. And I screamed at the top of my lungs and I shook my foot to get it off me. And 2 seconds later, after I killed it and put it in the garbage, I was like, that felt so good. I don't think I've ever screamed that way in my life, you know? And just getting that out, I felt like I had an hour of therapy or something.
Yes.
So I think it's important to what you're saying is to just let it out, you know? Yeah. Wow.
Because you didn't scream like this. Oh,
No.
no.
Then I turned around and I'm like, did anybody hear me? Because I mean, nobody was home, but it was so loud. I thought maybe the neighbors would have heard me or something, But it felt so good to just, it came from somewhere because
Mm-hmm.
it's just not me. Even when I was little, I've always been a really quiet person. Um, so unless I'm talking to my Italian friends and then my hands and everything goes.
Maybe I'm Italian somewhere because I've got it going on too.
But just to be able to let go like that and just let it come out, and I prayed about it since then because I really feel it that there's something to that. That's why I wanted to mention it. There's something to letting it out.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think we do enough of it. I think we suppress a lot in this society, that we're in, and we don't have a lot of the same outlets that other countries have, right? Because of the way that we live our lives here, because all of the wonderful things that we have and as far ahead in technology or things that we are, I think a lot of things like the things that we're talking about right now are part of their culture that really aren't part of ours. So I want to
Exactly.
expand on that.
Well, when you go overseas, well, for instance, we were talking about eating. How
Yeah.
many things do we have that are going on here? We have a gluten intolerance, we have lactose intolerance, we have this intolerance, that intolerance, da 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 all day long.
Yeah.
And you go over into Italy, for example,
Mhm.
and I can eat bread. I can eat pasta. I
Mm.
can do all sorts of things and not gain a pound, actually drop weight.
Me
No,
too.
drop fat, not even just weight. It's not
Yeah.
because sometimes people think, well, I've lost weight, but it's actually fluid.
Yeah.
We're talking about a fat percentage.
Hmm.
So that's where all my bodybuilding brain goes.
Yeah.
We're talking about a fat percentage. Then I remember once too, we took a mission trip down to Mexico City. We had a
Mhm.
team. So Roddy and I led a team down there. And we had this kid on the team, this teenager. And we totally forgot this kid was lactose intolerant. His mom was, she was like, now remember, he's lactose intolerant.
Mhm.
This child ate his weight in cheese every single day. And by the end of the trip, I was like, oh, darn, we forgot. Oh, no. But he never had one issue. Now, this was a long time ago before Mexico started getting a lot of this stuff, from the US and things. But this we're talking like 20 years ago. Not one problem. Came back
Wow.
home, not one problem from the trip. So there's a lot of things that go on over there, and it's a slower pace of life.
Yes. Yes.
Here, I drove Roddy to the airport yesterday, and I just told him, I'm in Dallas, and I'm seeing like 5 and 6 bridges stacked on top of each other, and all this stuff going on, and traffic everywhere. I'm in 8 lanes of
Yeah.
traffic on one side, 8 on the other.
Yeah.
And I looked at him and I said, babe, I need a slower pace.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
he said, but I'm not driving that fast. I said, no, babe, I need a slower pace.
Yeah.
So here in the States, that's something that we just have to understand that, there's a lot of things happening,
Mhm.
a lot of things out of our control,
Mhm.
but we can take control in
Yes.
here
On the inside.
and in here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then all the external,
Hmm.
we just let him have it.
Hmm.
Just letting that exhale happen. So I am all about the slower pace of life.
It was from a movie. I don't know what movie it was, but I'm hearing in my head, "Sanctuary, Sanctuary."
Right.
But it is our sanctuary because we can
Hmm.
always retreat where the Holy Spirit is, and we are not without hope in this world. And when we pull back like that within our bodies and take whatever's going on around us is kind of, we're not part of that, but the Holy Spirit helps us to deal with it if we allow Him to. We have that extra specialness inside us that helps us to live a certain.
And well, and us women, how we always want to have control of everything because we're the mothers, right? We're the moms and the grandmas and the caretakers and all the stuff. And I remember one day in my clinic, I had a patient come in, and I think it was like her first time that
Mm,
she came in, and she was coming in for some lymphatic work, and I was positioning her on the table, and at this time I did manual lymphatic drainage. And well, actually it's called lymph node technique because it's going in deeper, and I can explain a little bit of that when we talk
yes.
about the techniques of how I'm going to teach you something that's deeper than
Mhm.
what is out there that you can pay $250 to go do.
Thank you.
Okay. This lady, she's on my table, and she's moving her arms, and she's moving her legs, and she's doing all this. And I just told her, I would just put my hands on her arm, and I put her arm on the table, and I said, I want you to just be. I
Mm,
want you to let me serve you in this hour, and I
mm,
want you to receive. And she literally started crying. And she said, no one's ever told me that.
mm,
And I
mhm.
think it's so important for us to understand that, yes, God created us as caretakers, as women. He created us in a certain way, but He also created us to receive and receive from Him, because we can only output so much.
Yes, and if we don't receive and fill back up, then
Mm-mm.
there's nothing to give.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's where so many of us are right now. We don't take time for
Mhm.
self care. We
Right.
don't take time to go sit and just be with Him, even if it's for 3 minutes,
Mhm.
just 3 minutes of just silence
Yeah.
and just be, where we're not having to have something constantly poured in our brains, or yak 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 yak. Roddy gets up at like 5:30 a.m. and he's ready to conquer the world and he wants to talk to me, and I wake up and I'm just like, can I please have my coffee first?
Was it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday I said, please, I just want quiet before the rest of the world starts asking me for things. And James looked at me and he was like it was alien to him, but at the same time, he understood what I was saying, you know?
Exactly. Yeah. Well, he and Roddy are, they're a lot alike. So,
You know?
but that's what we need to do. We need to, as women, be the queens that God has called us to be, to have the mindset of a queen. And we could do a whole nother series about having a mindset of a queen.
Think of, because of my book on Esther, think of the pot
Hmm.
that we have to be a queen, even a king. They
Hmm.
don't get all flustered and this. I mean, they sit there with their clothes on and they just observe. And when they're ready to talk, they'll talk. They don't blow up and go crazy, you know. So I've learned to do that over the years.
It's a learning process for sure.
It is.
Oh my gosh.
Is. And getting your mind, like you said before, getting it out of that fight or flight. Because I think if you're constantly in that, that's always going to be your reaction. And if you don't know about this other part, where it's like, let it breathe from here, it's all going to be all right. If they
Hmm.
don't know about that part, that it exists and that we could use it to our advantage, life is going to be so chaotic, you know?
Yes, exactly. Well, okay, I'm going to give you guys one more example, then I'm going to teach you something. So I am flying down to Medellin, Colombia. This was in June this year, June. And we're going to spend a month down there. And we took a flight from here. I was going to go to Bogota. And that airplane, the flight was 5.5 hours long for
Mm,
5 solid hours. Five. Now, granted, I have traveled all over the world. I am a seasoned airplane person.
mhm.
For 5 solid hours, I thought the plane was going to break in half. I
Ooh.
literally thought we were going down. Roddy, the same way. He's also seasoned. He's been to way more places than me. And we finally got off the plane. He said, "Babe, I was freaked out." And I
Wow.
said, "Babe, I was freaked. I literally like I prayed in tongues for 5 solid hours. I've never prayed that hard
Mm,
for that long
yeah.
in one session with all my entire being. And at the same time as I'm praying, I'm breathing
Mm,
because I know that that belly breath is
mhm,
going to keep me balanced. It's going to keep me calm. It's going to keep me from reacting to a situation that I don't have control over.
mhm, mhm,
So that is where that deep belly breath can come in. So, whatever situation that you are coming up against, belly breathe. If it's out of your control, if it's, we don't want to react as queens, we
mhm,
want to respond.
mhm. Yes.
So we don't react, we respond.
Yes.
And one way to help us respond, deep breathe in, deep breathe out
Because
five
then your
times.
brain gets that oxygen that it needs
Hmm.
in order to think another thought, right?
Correct.
And to calm itself down, because it's not in this,
Yes.
now it's like, oh, okay, yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. All right. So,
Let's
wait, what other questions do you have? Because I know we have a few more minutes. I don't know how long
Yeah, keep going
your
because we
episodes
still
go.
have to talk about the tips and we have to talk
Yes.
about we have to talk about our flow and the best way to get our flow. So just, however time we take. I'm not at the 45-minute thing like I said before. Just let the Lord lead. Because I know that whatever we do say is going to be, useful. The We were talking about tips to be able to have that extra advantage within our lives. And so, if you could talk about one of the people within was talking about a clogged lymph she was diagnosed with, and that caused her to have chronic pain for
Mm.
over 3 decades. So if we could just get tips to, like you were talking about with the breathing, um, and other things that we could do throughout our day to make it, little tiny habits that we can incorporate so that we don't, one day wake up and, you know, we could have done this, but now we're in this state because we never took care of that area.
Exactly. Now, I don't know about you, but I am one of these that I don't want to take 20 minutes extra to do something because my day is full.
Mm-hmm.
Don't like, you get these gurus on Instagram or TikTok live talking about all these different this and that. And when they have no science to back any of this up, guys, don't listen to them. Anyway, just my rant on like, don't listen to all the TikToks.
No, I'm all
Get your
about
knowledge from like a specialist here. So here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna teach you a technique that you can do morning and evening with your skincare.
mm,
And then also another technique for breast health that you can do in the shower.
mm-hmm,
So it's incorporating it because you're going to be doing it anyway.
mm-hmm,
Okay. Number one, for good lymphatic health, breath. That's number one. We can go very little time in our life without breathing and we'll die. Breath, number one. I think that's why there's so many scriptures on breathing, on the breath. What did God do? He breathed.
Isn't there a difference between being cognizant of how we breathe as opposed to just shallow breathing that just happens, as we're going along? Should be we be a little bit more cognizant of how we breathe?
Exactly. Yep. Because now you'll pay attention. You'll
Mm-hmm.
be in a store and you'll be, oh, because you'll see that other person and they're going, I
Mm-hmm.
saw one the other day and I felt so bad for him. I just wanted to like take him and like hug him and, like, let me teach you how to breathe because you're so stressed out. So yes, you're going to be cognizant of that and you're going to start breathing more deeply. And that's going to help activate all that. So breath number one. Number two is going to be hydration because we are severely dehydrated as a nation.
Mm-hmm.
People want to not drink their water. They think they can get hydration through other things. Now, going back to the whole bringing ancient wisdom into modern science, in ancient times, they would get more of their hydration through their food. They
Mm-hmm.
would have foods full of water where they wouldn't have to drink. Like I drink basically 3 liters of water a day. I mean, it's like the big Fiji water. Yeah, I mean, I drink three of those. So if I were able to have all the foods which I try to get into my diet full of water, like peppers and the watermelons and all the foods that have water in them in season, by the
Mm-hmm.
way, in season, then we would be able to be hydrated. However, most people in our nation are going through drive-throughs and they're getting a burger and fry and you're not getting hydration through your food.
Oh.
That means we need to supplement with more
And a
water.
Coke or a soda or
Hmm.
juice is not the same as water.
It's not. I know. I would have my patients, they would come in and the guys, they were so snarky. Well, can I drink beer? And I'm like, that's not the same as water. I would just be like, and they would laugh. Of course, they know because they're getting me. But
Mhm.
water is water, and then you also need the salt with it. So one time a day, don't go spend your money on fancy, expensive electrolytes because you saw some TikTok video on schmancy spancy, $50 electrolyte supplement. All you need is Himalayan sea salt. You
Mhm.
take one tiny little pinch. It has all these wonderful minerals in it. One tiny little pinch, drop it in your water bottle first thing in the morning, and you're golden. That's all you need. And
Okay.
that's going to get your electrolyte balance because your cells need electrolyte. Your cells need salt
Uh-huh.
in order to absorb the water. So, okay, enough of the sciencey science stuff. One is breath, two is hydration, water. Three is nutrition. We want to make sure that we have good whole foods coming in because our body is the temple of the Holy Spirit. And will I go through a drive-through? Sometimes I might if I'm in another country. Thank goodness for Bobby Kennedy trying to come in and restructure some things. But does it mean I'm not going to have chicken nachos every now and again? Absolutely not. I love my Mexican food all day long. I will have some chicken
No,
nachos.
no.
But, you know, 80 to 90% of my diet is whole food. And that's what you want. You want whole food, good nutrition, things that are going to feed you and feed your brain and take care of you the way that God intended versus not. So you can, when you have a plate of food, just be aware of what it is. That's all I'm saying is just have an awareness and say, you know what? This is not the best nutritional value, but I just want to eat it right now, so I'm just going to eat it. Okay, that's awareness versus mindless people. You'll see them and they'll just have stuff and they'll just constantly put it. They have no awareness of what they're even putting in their body. So bring in awareness. Okay, now
Those
to
aren't aware, can you give us like some like quick examples of foods that are whole? Like I
uh,
don't eat anything out of a can. I think the only
no
thing I eat out of a can is like coconut milk or something that I'm putting into a dish or something like that.
anything that doesn't have an ingredients label on it. So tomatoes,
Ooh.
cucumbers, celery,
Mhm.
spinach,
Mm,
chicken, and make sure it's good chicken.
yeah.
Honestly, goodness, with everything that's been going on, I've been getting my I'm not sponsored by them, by the way, disclaimer. Good Ranchers. They're over here in Texas. I think they're in Fort Worth, and they have really good farm raised animals that
Yeah.
don't eat stuff and they don't inject a lot of stuff in that. And so that's where I get my meat from. So anything that is a good either no ingredient or really really low. I get this wonderful if you want pasta, which I love on occasions. There's a Costco has this wonderful pasta and it's Italian. So it's mom approved because
Oh,
they ship it from Italy. So it's not processed like it is here in the
good.
States. I would have to send you a picture because
Okay.
I do have some down in my pantry. So
Because I know for me, and I grew up with pasta, but I grew up with pasta over there, not pasta over here. And I know that when I have like the Checo or Barilla, those two, it's not the same as Ronzoni and stuff like that because those are based on semolina. They're not made with the same ingredients as other stuff. So the way the ingredients within the pasta is
mhm,
what makes it better for us, right? So
exactly.
for that, and we could post it later. That would be awesome.
We can do that. I'll have to go down and grab a picture. And then the way it's processed here, my daughter works with an Italian family over here at a restaurant, and the mom makes everything from scratch and she imports it all from Italy.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
it's so good. It's just so good. Okay, so those are your top three things. So breathing, number one,
Hmm.
water. We can go a little while without water, but we're going to need it at some point. Food, we can go days,
Hmm.
months without food. I mean, Jesus fasted, and I mean, Roddy's fat. He did a 21-day fast. I'm like, oh my goodness. And that's when he was dealing with it's a disease in that he had happened. Long story. And he said, you know what? I'm going to take control of my health. And I believe fasting is the way that I need to do it. And he did a 21-day fast and boom, he has been different ever since. So fasting, I'm a huge fan of fasting. Because it helps to clean because your lymphatic system. Okay, guys, if you don't have hydration, number one, and you're filling your body full of a bunch of toxins, it's like you've had 14 people come over to your house. They've all used your toilet in a really bad kind of way and you don't have water in the tank to
Hmm.
flush that out and you've not been breathing and you've not been moving, walking is like your best friend, your lymphatic system, you do all this other stuff, but I love walking. um
Hmm.
what's going to happen, your body's going to just get more and more and more and more and more toxic. The toxic load is just going to expand, so we want to be able to flush out the toxic load. Okay, dry brushing is okay if you want to exfoliate. 20 years ago, it was great for lymphatic movement. The toxicity levels are here now where they were here. So here we go. I'm going to teach you a different kind of step that you can do. All right. Your main drains of your lymphatic system. Why God did this, I don't know. They are just inside your collarbone. So if you see your collarbone, they are just inside your collarbone. If you feel inside your collarbone, you feel a little bit of a dip there. That's where your main drain of your lymphatic system is, both sides. Okay. So when you're doing your skincare routine, this is simple. We want to engage it. We want to wake it up. We want to go, hey, lymphatic system, it's time to get moving. It's time to get working. Like, this is my immune system. We're going to clean and we're going to, have all this stuff pile into the lymph nodes, and the lymph nodes are going to go, oh, nope, you're not any good. Oh, yes, let's keep you. Let's put you here and let's do this. And it's going to sort like a filtration system. So we want to be able to give the lymph nodes a hand. So what we're going to do is you're going to have 2 fingers. It's like, pull out your guns, right? I'm in Texas. Pull out your guns. And just place your 2 fingers just inside your collarbone, and you're going to give it a little pump, just up and down. A nice little pump, and you can go 5 to 10 times, whatever, however you feel it. The more you do it, you might start feeling a little bit of tingling in your head. You've just engaged some drainage. That's
Well,
amazing.
just touching myself that one time, I could feel like in my teeth and this going up, in a good way. Yeah.
Oh,
So,
you'll feel it. Like, you'll feel like, oh, wild stuff. Like, I can be up here working on somebody and they'll feel it in their legs. Your
yeah.
lymphatic system is like a vacuum system. When it gets engaged, it's like, let's just, let's start sucking from every point to get rid of all this trash. So then we've done 5 different things here, like 5 different pumps. Then you can wash your face, brush your teeth, all of that. Do some deep breathing because you've already done that in the bed before you ever got up, because you want to engage it. Wash your face. Then when you're putting on your moisturizer, make sure you have clean products. I'm talking clean. Your lymphatic system sits just underneath your epidermis. It does not need the extra toxic load from all the chemicals. So I'm saying clean skin care, clean makeup, whatever you put on. Then you want to just, got my little microphone here, so I'm just going to do one side. You can take your hand, and as you're putting this moisturizer on, you can just pull it straight down to that main drain. You want to go straight down 3 to 5 times. You've already got your moisturizer on, so you can go 2 hands. You can go like this. We don't want a double chin, girls. Just go like this. And then you can put it on like this, bring it to the ears, and I'm talking 3 to 5 times. Pull it up here because we don't want those lines coming in, because we are queens. And we're like your book, Esther, how much preparation they do to her.
Right.
We don't want those frown lines, because
Yeah.
what are we doing? Are we holding on, or are we letting go?
Yeah.
So we can pull it up and bring it down, and then give this guy a little bit of a pump again. There's your facial routine. That took me, what, 10 seconds? Okay. And then the next one, breast health awareness. I'm going to teach you this, both sides. Do you see that line right there in my shirt? You have a whole bunch of lymph nodes that flow down here. So when you're in the shower and you're putting on all your stuff, you just want to give that a little bit of dip in and give it a little pump. We're going lymph node, not lymphatic flow. We're going lymph node. We're helping lymph nodes.
Okay.
Okay. So we're going to just push in a little bit. We're going to get a little bit up because we're going toward that main drain.
So in and up in that.
And up, like you're scooping.
Yeah. Oh, good. Yeah. Yeah.
Like a scoop. You're going to scoop it up. You're going to put your hand in your armpit. We want an armpit, not an arm puff. If you have an arm puff, we've got lots of congestion going on there. So you just flat hand. Don't do that. That's going to hurt. Flat hand in your armpit, and you're just going to bring it toward that main drain. Give it a little pump 3 to 5 times. And if you would have known that, what would have happened if you'd have known this way back when, right? You do it on both sides. And then, you've soaked up, bring all this up. You have what's called a thoracic duct that comes way up here. All kinds of lymph nodes. So just bring this up, and then let me see if I can. Okay, underneath the breast.
Mm-hmm.
So start at the bra line, go this way toward the armpit. So you're just basically in the shower. You've got your whatever loofah, go that way, pump this again, and then give this a little bit of pump. Do it on both sides. Your breast health will be so thankful.
Mm-hmm. 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 Wow. Wow. I mean, just watching you in the areas that you are, because I did have that, before they had the double mastectomy, I was sharing that they checked out my lymph nodes to make sure that there wasn't anything there so that they could proceed with the surgery and make sure that they weren't, but it just frees your entire body.
Mm-hmm.
It gives it, that word is really true. It's flow. It gives it just a flow, you know, to be able to work things through, like you said earlier. So,
And even with a double mastectomy, that
mhm,
still do this because you have all those lymph nodes in there and you want to keep that area nice and flowy and clean and pumping, and it's your immune system. So
hmm hmm And how often should they do that? Should they do that every day or every other day, or how often do you recommend that we do that?
if you feel like you're very, very toxic, a very toxic person, I would do it every day.
Mm,
You could even do it twice a day. But if it's a time constraint, just do it when you're in the shower because everybody gets up, you get in the shower, you're
mhm.
out the door. So just do it in the shower 3 to 5 times, go up that way, give it a pump, and go up this way, give it a pump.
Those are areas that we clean anyway. So just learning to clean them a certain way as opposed to just whoop, whoop, I think is important because then that becomes part of the routine. And without taking extra seconds or time, you're taking care of that area, because I know for me,
Exactly.
because you taught me that years ago. I'm already like when I do my stuff, I'm already there, and I'm over here and I'm like, oh, and I think of you in the shower. Sorry, but yeah,
It's like,
Michelle,
oh, Michelle would do this.
you in my head. Yeah. Any other tips that you can share with us and that you think would be helpful that are quick to do for those that are busy besides the breathing and you know, the lymphads?
When you look at yourself in the mirror,
Mm.
tell yourself how much you love you
Yes. Yes.
and and be grateful. Tell yourself that you are so grateful for
Yeah.
the way that you function, the way that you move, your brain health. Give your body gratitude. And
Yeah.
that's going to be that rewiring
Mm-hmm.
that we talked about earlier.
Yes.
Not I know some women go like, I remember way back, you look in the mirror, you're like, oh, I don't like, I don't like what I said. No, 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 no. We're not going to do that. We're going to be grateful.
Yeah.
Thank you, God, for creating me.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, body, for working to where I can go down the stairs. Thank you that I can play with my grandchildren. Thank you that I can think, all gratitude. What we speak, we create, right? Life and death in the power of the tongue.
Mm-hmm.
So we
Yeah.
speak it and we tell our body that we love it and we thank God for creating us the way that He did.
Amen. And I I don't know where I got this, but I'm writing a book right now where I talk about gratitude. That's part of it. I've talked about it in my other books, but you know, I sometimes I say, "Hey, brain, thank you so much for working for me today. Thank you for
Yes.
helping me to remember. Pancreas, thank you for lungs, thank you." And I kind of go through and I thank each part of my body doing what they did for me today. And if you think about it in like regular terms, um, I I look at it as when you give gratitude to someone or you thank them for someone for something that they've done, if you watch their actions, their posture changes, they're like,
Mhm.
oh, and that's even with God, it says that without faith, it's impossible to please him. So that when we walk in faith, he's pleased. And when we thank him, even if, children, right? Parents love children they're grateful and that come
Yes.
back for more. And even one of the chapters I talked about is about restoration. And I truly believe with all my heart, and it's in scriptures, that those who are grateful, like the 10 lepers, right, only one of them came back, and it says they were all healed, but the one that came back and expressed gratitude was the one that was made whole. So
Yes.
gratitude does more for us than, just, and we're made, I struggled with weight and body dysmorphia for years, and I finally am like, okay, if I'm made in your image and this is part of your image, then I have to be grateful for what you gave me, you know? And so we need to be grateful for what the Lord has given us, because we have a mouth, we have eyes, we have ears, all of these things that we don't even think about, that we may take for granted. But I can guarantee you that if you start thanking those areas of your body, those organs and everything else, that they will perk up, because it's just frequency, right? Gratitude
Hmm.
creates frequency, and frequency is what the entire universe runs on. Even the Lord is described as light, right? And so it's not some hooey things, it's in the Bible, right?
Hmm.
So when we express gratitude, that increases our frequency. And there's, what is it, 67 or 72 megahertz, where if you dip below that, it opens your body up to disease. So
Correct.
yes. So you always want to make sure that you're flowing at a higher rate than other people, you know?
Hmm. Exactly. And remember, our water responds to
Mhm.
the frequency, it responds to the words. So there's science to back this up, that when you speak negative things, the water takes on bad things. So there was study that there was two trees put into a school. They were put into the same environment, and the kids were told to speak bad to one and speak love to the other. The one
Mhm.
that was spoken bad to died.
Yes.
Think about the water in your body, because it's the water. It's the water that pulls in that frequency. And so when we speak bad things, negative things, we're going to create bad things. If we speak good things, that's going to pull in that good vibration, that higher vibration, which we know God is. He is a higher vibration. Then our body responds to that.
Mhm.
And then it says, yeah, I'm ready, I'm ready, like, let's heal this. Like, we think, if we're dealing with a disease, you know what, I'm already whole. I'm
Mhm.
whole. I'm not dealing with this, I'm whole. And so our body responds to what we're saying to it.
Mhm. Mhm. And I can attest to that, because there's been many times in my life where these are the statistics. This is what's happening. But in my mind, I'm like, thank you for that. I can appreciate what you're saying to me, but I don't have to believe that. I can believe it so that I could take care of myself, but I don't have to take it in and let it take root within me. And I think that's what happens when we're grateful, right? And when we
Hmm.
practice these things that you're talking about, is that it increases that flow. Because even the fig tree, why did God curse it? Because it was already, there were leaves on there. Where's the fruit? You know? And we have to command that fruit to come by doing the things that you shared with us, right? We have to make sure that there's that flow, because if we're not flowing, then that's like you were talking about, if there's a pond that doesn't have access to it being rejuvenated all the time, if there's no movement, it gets nasty on the bottom. And I think that happens to our bodies when we're not flushing through with water, when we're not flushing through with food. Things, like you said, get toxic inside us. And then there's that buildup. And the more you can do each day as part of your routine, right? The better off you are for that excess not to happen, because nobody wants to wake up one day and then have to play catch up, you know?
Exactly. You just hit it right there. Yes, we don't want to play catch up.
No, because then unfortunately, you may not be able to, you know?
Mhm.
And so I think that we really have to take care of all of these areas in order for that to happen. So, anything else you want to share? Any other nuggets that you're thinking of? Or that,
I can't think of anything just yet. So yeah.
okay. All right. Well, I want to thank you for being on here and for sharing with us to help us keep healthy and to produce that flow that we need in our lives. And how can people get a hold of you?
You can find me on Instagram. It's Dr. Dr. Michelle Nelson. I'm a 1L Michelle, guys, a 1L. So I'm a little different. God created me different. Dr. Michelle Nelson. Also on Facebook is Michelle Nelson. And then you can find my skincare line on evixialux.com. And we can put the links in there, because you want to have good deodorant. for your
Yes.
lymph nodes. I have a natural deodorant, and guys, you don't want to be toxic. Don't fill it up full of, aluminum and all this stuff. So there is a deodorant on there that's going to be good for your body, good for your lymphatic system. So yeah, that's how you can find me online. And I try to post. I try.
Well, we'll put all of your links and ways to get a hold of you, and I'm just so grateful to call you friend. I really am. I just love you and Roddy, and I'm just so thankful for your time here because this could have been what almost $1,000 session with what you.
But I love to teach and I love to share.
You did.
And I really appreciate you having me on here to be able to give this knowledge out, because I really think it's important that we share the things that we can help each other with and not hold back.
Amen. Amen. Thank you so much for your time.
Absolutely. Love it. Love it.